So this is my second academic job. My first was in the state of Virginia, and I taught at a college for 4 years that was not unionized. And so it was very unclear how we advocated for things like raises, for equity, and there was a lot of frustration among my colleagues on how to advocate for these kinds of equitable changes. So when I applied to UO and I realized that they were undergoing an organizing union drive, I was very excited to go to a place where the faculty had just created this union. So that was a huge incentive to come to UO, was knowing that there was a union there. I remember, in fact, during my campus interview, people telling me that UO was in the process of unionizing, and that were basically selling that to me as a kind of incentive to come here. So I was very excited to know that the union was there. When I landed in Eugene, you're just getting set up and trying to get your bearings. But I went to a bargaining session my first summer here, right before I even started teaching, and got to see what that looked like. And it was just fascinating to me, the idea of the faculty and staff on one side of the table and the administration on the other, and negotiating and talking about these issues. That was really exciting to me, the idea that we could have these conversations, these difficult conversations, but actual open conversations where we talk about what is the best thing for a university. So I became a member very soon after. I didn't really get involved in the union until this is my third year, this year, where I agreed to be co-steward of my department. And I thought, I always kept abreast of what was going on in the union. I knew people who were in the organizing committees. I knew people who were working in it. And so it made sense to just be a steward and finally just go ahead and do some of the union work. And it's been a lot of fun to work with my colleagues across many different units and many different departments, many different ranks. And to have the sense of common purpose and solidarity. I think one of the things for me that's important is that I come from a very working class family. My mom and dad immigrated from China and Hong Kong in the 70s, and they were both manual laborers. My dad worked in restaurants all his life. My mom, for the last 25 years of her working life, was a maintenance worker at a hospital. So labor was really important to us. This is how we got by. This is how we survived in this country. And from very early on, even though my parents were pushing me to get as much education as I could, I never forgot the value and dignity of labor. And so even though I'm now an assistant professor at a top-tier research university, I still don't see a lot of difference between me and where I come from. I still see what we do as labor, as work, and that whatever our contribution is to the university should be recognized. And we should find common ground in the fact that we're all working to make this university a better place. So that's something I actually really believe very deeply, is the dignity of all kinds of work that makes this university work, whether it be teaching, whether it be doing administration, whether it be doing staff work, or whether it be doing custodial maintenance. All of this contributes to the university, so why don't we recognize it? And that's something that drives me when I work with the union, this principle that all labor is equal and all worthy of dignity and respect and compensation. That really drives me in this work. I've also seen how, with the implementation of the first CBA, departments and units have been compelled to formalize and codify our practices so that they are transparent. And I think in our department, there were a lot of things that weren't written down, that we weren't really sure how they worked, and there was room for confusion and some anxiety. And so I think these new policies that we're writing collectively as a unit has been really helpful for us to get a sense of transparency, but also a sense of equity, not just within this unit, but across units whatsoever. It's been a lot of work. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of meetings. We've complained about it, but we all see the value of what this will mean in future years. What this will mean for people who we hire in the years to come to the UO. That this is just going to be a better place to work. This is going to be a better place to feel that you have a voice, to feel that this structure and this institution is really supporting you. And I think that's great for increasing the morale of our colleagues and us. And, in the end, it comes down to the students. none of us are here if we didn't feel passionate about our students, if we didn't feel passionate about teaching. And when we feel respected and when we feel recognized, we want to give more to our students. It's rare to meet a faculty member who doesn't like students, who doesn't want to serve students. I think we all do, and it's a struggle sometimes, but that's why we're here. We could be doing other things with our lives. We could be doing things that pay us a lot better, that allow us to live in a bigger city. But for us, our passion is teaching. Our passion is serving our students. And what's been nice to see is the administration recognizes that when you compensate, when you recognize the work of your faculty and your staff, the students are happier. The students do better. And so I think that's also a big part of why I am part of this union. It's not to set ourselves against the administration. It really is to help make this a better place where we all fit in. I see that people, staff and faculty are more cognizant of their rights, and they're more empowered. I think there were cases where some of our faculty didn't realize they had a voice and didn't realize they had people backing them up. So it's been very heartening to see the real effect the union has had in letting people know that they're not alone in the system, that there is an institution, there is a structure, there's an organization that's trying to help. So I've noticed that just within the last 2 years, the sense that we do have a voice with the union. So that's been the biggest change I've seen. Sure. I think my vision for the future is not a place without conflict. You know, there's always going to be tensions and frictions because there are occasionally competing interests or disagreement on what the common interest is. So we're always going to have to negotiate. We're always going to have to bargain. That's just how life works. My hope, though, is that we don't see it as something to avoid, but see it as something to welcome the chance to negotiate, to bargain, to air out grievances, to air out disagreements. As a teacher, I don't want my students to just say, yes, I agree, yes, you're totally right. If a student disagrees with me, I really want them to hear why. I don't see how I become a better teacher if I don't listen to my students' concerns or disagreements. And that's how I feel about this university. I don't think you have a better administration unless they listen to what the faculty feel. And so I think welcoming this idea that this is how we go forward is to negotiate, is to air it out, to talk through these things. And it's something that we welcome as a pivot, as an opportunity for change. So I don't have this utopia that everyone will be happy, will always agree, and there'll be no frictions. I mean, there always are, but my vision for the future is a place where we don't shy away from that, and we don't see this as a threat, but we see this as an opportunity to make things better, and to make things continually better. Things are never going to get to a point where everyone's happy. I mean, with the state of higher education, that's just not going to happen. There's going to be new struggles down the line. There's going to things that are really beyond our university. But if we continue the dialogue and continue the negotiation, I think we're going to become an institution that's adaptable, that can adapt to these changes that are happening outside of us.